Hello and welcome into the Bibbs Corner podcast, episode 16. Coming to you a little early today off of Mavs win with no Luka, no Porzingis, no Dorian Finney-Smith. It was an opportunity for the role players to step up, and they did. It was looking kind of ugly there in the first half, but the Jazz, who were already down their key starters, or key starter, I should say, in Donovan Mitchell, they decided to rest everybody else, Conley, Clarkson even, and Gobert in the second half, which meant we were up against their deep reserves and G-Leaguers. So the game quickly turned around, and we really took it away at the end there. But again, good to see those guys step up. They didn't quit. Starting lineup was JJ, Seth, THJ, Justin Jackson, and Boban. And I got to say, my boy Boban was bullying Gobert and getting buckets, playing big boy basketball. It was beautiful. I love to see it. I wish he had gotten a double-double, but we'll go over that a little bit more later. THJ looked good facilitating the offense, getting inside, hitting mid-range shots. I think that what I saw from him tonight is what I'd like to see more even when Luka is there. I've been trying to figure out ways to get the ball out of Luka's hands to some degree. Not late in the games necessarily. Maybe we do want to have it to where in the middle of games, though, Seth or THJ are facilitating the offense for stretches of time. I think we put too much on Luka's shoulders throughout the game, and I think it affects the way our offense I don't want to just say our offense. It affects both ends of the floor, really, and just the way we just continue to trade buckets with other teams based on how we play. I'm not ready to go deep into that right now. Anyway, Seth was also forced to shoot tonight, and when he shot, good things happened. It's almost surprising to no one, actually. So good things happened with Seth's shot. Again, him and THJ really got going late in the game when they were playing against G-Leaguers, but that's neither here nor there. JJ had a pretty strong game as well as a steadying force at the point for us, unwavering when we were having a really rough time there for a stretch. Really like what he gave us and think that he probably will get some run in the playoffs this year if we're legitimately having a shot at this thing against whoever we're facing, because right now that's still up in the air. But then you had guys like Maxey, Trey Burke adding some scoring off the bench. Josh Reeves and Delon made some plays for us for little stretches of the game. And then MKG, who, it's been a while since I've really seen him, but it looks like he added some caboose there. He looks like Boris Diaw when he gained all that weight so he could play center, almost out there. But I'll have plenty to say about MKG later. This is the cold open, so we're not going to get into any deep dives. But overall, it was just a strong effort from the supporting cast. I hope that some of it carries over. Again, I'll talk about that a little bit later after the break here. But I'm not going to sit here and act like this is some type of game-changing or world-changing performances that we saw. It is what it is at the end of the day. But there are things that can be taken away from this game that, again, I'll talk about later after the break. So let's go to the break real quick. Okay, welcome back. Again, this is the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, Mike Bibbins, at Bibbs Corner on Twitter for the sports stuff, at MBibbs for the real life, and at Bibbs Film for the movie stuff. Again, the Mavs won. No KP, no Luka, no Dorian Finney-Smith. Some guys had to step up and some guys did. The starting lineup, we'll run down them first. First of all, you had Tim Hardaway Jr., who finished this game with 27 points, 3 boards, 4 assists on 11 for 15 shooting, which is amazing that you can shoot 11 for 15 when you're basically the main guy, but then go like 1 for 13 when when you're playing off of two all-star type players. But maybe this was a good game for him to get his confidence. I think that what may be the case and what may have been revealed through this performance is that THJ is a guy who needs early looks and not just like catch and shoot looks. I think that him getting inside early, getting those first couple of like mid-range shots and being able to facilitate the offense off the bounce, I think that was good for him, and I think that's something we should probably look to do for him in these last couple of games, of course, but also going into the playoffs. If we're trying to get a real good look at who he is and what we should be willing to pay him if he opts out, I still expect that he'll opt in. But if he opts out, what we would be willing to pay him, what he can provide for us, then giving him those opportunities is going to be key, in my opinion. He was 3 for 6 from 3. And again, that's what you want to see from him is knocking down shots, but also to add another dimension to the team, because we can't have just jump shooters. We do need a slashing element. Seeing him getting inside was great. Moving forward, another guy who I like to see activity from, who I like to see be more than just a spot-up shooter, is Seth Curry. He was 8 for 11 tonight, 22 points himself, 4 for 6 from 3. So, of course, you want him to hit the threes, but you want to see him get inside off the bounce and hit those floaters and layups and stuff too. So he was aggressive attacking early and then aggressive shooting late, and that's beautiful. That's what you want from him. And again, as I mentioned in the cold open, my boy Boban was bullying Gobert early and getting buckets, playing big boy basketball, and yes, it was beautiful. You know how I feel about Boban, and say what you want about him, but he's a guy that when he was on the court, you knew we could get offense from him. JJ knew that. That's why he was feeding him the ball. Seth knows that. They were just dumping the ball down to him and letting him go to work. He finished with 20 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks, including 1 on Gobert when he tried to up and under him. He tried to just go through him, and Boban just kind of walled him up. But 20 and 9, that's a huge line for anybody. He played 25 minutes, so didn't have to play 30-something minutes to get it done. I just think that he's an easy, especially against reserves, are you kidding me? An easy guy to throw in there and make sure that the offense doesn't completely fall apart like it has been when we put our bench in recent games. He was 7 for 11 total from the field, 6 for 6 from the line. He was the only player in the game who shot more than 2 free throws, which was interesting. Moving forward, I mentioned JJ had 8 assists. Also had 18 points on 7 for 13 and 2 for 4 from 3. Again, just a really steady game from JJ. What you would hope to see from him if in a starting role in that type of situation. Hopefully won't have to see that again with Luka back. But again, as a guy we could plug in off the bench maybe and run the offense rather than just chunk up shots like Trey Burke appears to have been doing. The last starter. Okay, the last starter was Justin Jackson, and he played 24 minutes, finished with 2 points, 2 boards, and an assist, and he blew another layup. Why? Why are you 6'8"? Why were you blessed with magnificent height and basketball length just to blow layups, my guy? Come on, son. For what? I often reflect on my life as a man, and I think about how I was being scouted, elementary school and stuff. and I was short, but back then it doesn't matter that much. But then I stayed short. Then I got to high school and I stayed short. I actually graduated high school shorter than I am now. I had a growth spurt in college, which was completely pointless. No D1 scholarships coming to you at that point. I just think if God had blessed me with Justin Jackson's height, one thing I know I wouldn't be doing is blowing layups. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to get emotional here, but stop blowing layups, Justin Jackson, please, for me, because I cry a little bit every time. And then I do my stretching exercises to see if I can get to 6'8". You know what? I'm gonna move forward. The bench. Trey Burke played his normal role off the bench. He gave us 14 points, a board, 4 assists and 2 steals, 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. Overall, not bad. I mean, he was firing away. He took almost as many shots as Seth in much less time. But, it is what it is. We needed points. We were down big for certain stretches. So somebody has to score, and he is never going to be afraid to fire away. So good on him. Maxey, who was looking rough in the first half, trying to deal with Gobert, had Gobert dwarfing him, looking real goofy out there, but made up for it in the second half, finished with 11 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, and a large block on Rajon Tucker. Thank you to Rajon Tucker for his contributions to the wall. It's always nice when you see young guys getting involved in charitable work. So great, thankful for him for adding that. Maxey, though, was 5 for 9 overall. 1 for 3 from the three-point line. But that wasn't a huge factor. We needed him inside since we were playing small most of the game. And he did take advantage of some inside opportunities. DeLon was very active attacking the rim. Like, he looked decisive and comfortable and confident, which is what he needs to be on a consistent basis. I'm not sure what's happening that hasn't been the case so far in the bubble for the most part, but an active, aggressive DeLon Wright is a good thing. I think tonight he had 4 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, and 3 steals. So, again, very active on both ends of the floor and something that we need from him. I'm actually going to skip the next guy I had listed and move down the list. So, Josh Reeves played, I believe, 13 minutes or so. He finished with 4 points, 1 board, 3 assists. I had to make sure I mention him for those of you who are Josh Reeves fans and constantly complaining about him not getting playing time. So you got that tonight. He looked pretty good. But I would be remiss if I did not mention that he also blew a layup. What are you tall for, my guy? Make your layups, man. That's just all I'm going to say. Like, the only person I'm going to excuse missing layups is J.J. Barea because he's your average man out there doing it amongst the Giants. So, Josh Reeves, don't be blowing layups, man. Come on now. It's just your one opportunity to shine. You can't do that. Okay? Hope somebody clowns you in your text from back home. Anyway, Antonius Cleveland played 3 minutes, had 3 rebounds, was 0 for 3. I know y'all don't like to hear positive things about people who don't play perfect basketball, but I really like Antonius Cleveland's feel. Maybe feel isn't the word. I like how he plays. And I think that how he plays is important to winning basketball, and that he was aggressive attacking, whether it was looking for cutting opportunities or when he got the ball and he attacked. There was one time where it looked like he thought he was going to yam something ferocious on somebody's head and came in. But that did not play out well. And yes, he was 0 for 3. But again, when you just played 3 minutes and you haven't played in like several games, it's tough to really get a rhythm. I think it would have been nice to have seen him get more burn early on in these bubble games, or if we could actually blow a team out to see him get a long stretch of run. I think somebody made the point of him appearing like a young Dorian Finney-Smith, and that's kind of the vibe I get from him. Dorian is a longer guy. We ask him to play bigger. I think Cleveland can be that type of guy on the perimeter, just a solid slasher guy that can get out in the open floor and score for us, be aggressive on defense, those types of things. Like, I hope that he's retained going into next season. But then I have to go back to the man of the night, the guy who was at one point the man, the myth, the mystery, the man that we weren't really sure was actually there at some point in time. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist played about 18 minutes tonight. Only pulled down 6 boards if you just look at the stat sheet. But if you watch the game, you noticed a lot of things that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was providing for this team. He was playing great defense on the perimeter. He looked very mobile and loose and fresh. One thing I noticed was how many times he was covering our defensive mistakes. So just his awareness on the defensive end to be able to cover his man, see that somebody else has missed an assignment, and also cover that assignment. And then when you have a guy that's doing those types of things, you can see that it lifts the energy of the rest of the team. And the rest of the team, like even Trey Burke was clamping up when Kidd-Gilchrist was out there. Just like everybody was moving better, people were communicating, and that's what I mean. That's what I've been talking about on this podcast. That we need that Ray Lewis type person on the court. And it's not necessarily a vocal thing always, but it can be. I wasn't able to really tune in as intently as I would like to because I was working during the game. I was multitasking. But you could just tell that energy was different when he was on the court on the defensive end. And that's maybe he can be that guy. I talked again earlier, I think the last time I talked about what I thought his best potential would be, and that was, or what I saw him playing his best basketball in Charlotte was when they had him playing like a small ball 4, and he was cleaning the glass pretty good and able to switch defensively and play big or play small. So I think that's his potential role. We'll see what that looks like. I think the next 2 games will be a good place to test that. Could try him out against Carmelo, or even Cam Johnson in the next couple of games. So that's something that I'm hoping to see, honestly, at this point. I think we still don't have a starting lineup that should be locked in my opinion. So I could see him being thrown in there, potentially, depending on the matchup, or even just as that reserve guy, again, depending on the matchup that we can throw in from time to time just to mix and match the assignments. I was impressed, and let me point out, I did mention the caboose earlier. But I think that him adding, it looks like he's added weight. I'm not 100% on this. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen him, but I just don't remember him being that thick down low like he looked out there tonight. Doesn't look like he's lost any mobility at all, but he definitely looks more solid, which is good if you want him to be guarding, 4s and knowing Rick Carlisle potentially 5s. Again, I was impressed with what I saw from him tonight. If he's healthy, I think he could end up being the answer to our big man rotation woes. We can't expect Porzingis and Maxey to play 40 and 30 minutes a night and hold up defensively for that in full stretch of time. If MKG can give us 10 minutes in a big rotation to grab some boards and protect the paint or protect the perimeter, whoever he's guarding, whatever his assignment is, and help cover up some of those defensive flaws, whether it's in the starting lineup or with the starters, not necessarily starting the game, but whether it's, in a starter rotation or with the bench rotation, whatever the case may be, then that's valuable, and that's something I would definitely be up for. Just something to think about. Now, I said I wasn't going to do any questions today, but, I'm a nice guy. So somebody had actually, let me see if I can find it here. Bear with me. Do. Okay. Frankie B _89, and that's Frankie with the Y. Frank Biza said, I'm gonna ask anyways. I applaud that boldness right there. Said, do you think Carlisle rested everyone to snap THJ and Seth out of it? Besides, see what he has in Burke and company. They got to see the ball go through. Ball go through them and into the basket more today. So I can't necessarily say that was his goal with sitting them. I do think that he wanted to take the opportunity to rest them going into a back-to-back, and then I guess have 2 games against teams that are playing for something serious, playing for their lives, in the Blazers and Suns, to be able to have us at full strength against those teams. I think that makes sense to me. I did expect that he would rest them. I didn't expect he would arrest them, KP and Luka both on for 1 game. I thought he would do 1 and 1, but doing it the way he did makes more sense to make sure that you do get those 2 games back to back right before we go into the playoffs, to fine tune some things there. As far as the other guys getting some confidence, I think that's a positive byproduct there. And just being able to see what we have, what those other guys can provide, and then we get 2 games to kind of see if any of that can carry over into the playoffs. So I think it's kind of a win-win situation, and when you win the game, it's a win-win-win. So again, I said I wasn't going to take any questions, but I guess I kind of did. And you know what? I'm in my mentions now, and I have other questions that I can go ahead and knock out. So Matthew Lee Moore, and actually his @name and his name are the same. How about that? Good on him. He said, do I see Reeves or Cleveland as a more likely to have a spot on the team next year? I have to say Reeves, just because he's newer to the program. I would like for both of them to be retained in some way, shape, or form. But I do expect that Reeves is the more likely to stay if I had to pick one. Let's see. I'm gonna check one more place. All right. Okay. No other questions out there for me. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is going to be a quick one. Again, Rick Carlisle and the boys rested today. They played the youngsters and the role players, and they got it done for us against the Jazz G Leaguers. This is gonna be a short pod. Thank you guys again for stopping in, for checking out the podcast. Looks like a few more people even accidentally maybe listen to the film side. I'm still figuring out some things of how I want to do that, and so I can get a good rhythm. I'm still kind of just winging it. I need to come up with a better flow there, I think. But this is all learning. A month ago, I had only posted 1 podcast, and now I'm up to 16. So obviously things will cool down whenever the Mavs are done. I did mention, I believe on Twitter a while back, I don't even know how long it's been at this point, that I'm going to be doing some GOAT rankings for the NBA. After I started doing the podcast and the recaps, and then it started taking off, I've decided to save the GOAT rankings for after the Mavs are eliminated. Since right now I'm doing the recaps, I'll start doing the GOAT rankings, and I've got some other stuff up my sleeve that I'll do for the off season. I mentioned it. I don't even know if I've mentioned it on this pod now that I think about it, but I mentioned when I was with old Edmund the Slayer, at Edmund the Slayer, on his podcast, I mentioned that I'm hanging it up. I'm retiring from the scouting game, just because I have some other things that I need to prioritize in my life, and it's very time consuming. Anytime I watch a guy, I'm always going to be thinking with that scout's mindset. So that's not going to change. I'm still going to, if I'm watching college basketball or checking out some EuroLeague, whatever the case may be, then I'm always going to have observations and takeaways from those games. I'm just not going to keep up with the spreadsheets and the charts and the notes and all that good stuff like I've been doing. So I did scout a lot of players for this draft before I made some adjustments in my life. So I'm still going to maybe do a board. I have a lot of like key guys I still need to look at. So we'll see, depending on, again, when the Mavs get eliminated and what kind of time we have for the off season and what kind of time I'm on, because I'm going to be starting school back here shortly as well. But you'll get something from me on the scouting side at the very least. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but after that, it's probably not going to be very official. Again, thank you guys for checking in. I appreciate all your time, love, and appreciation. I'll catch you guys next time, most likely after the Blazers game tomorrow, I guess. Crap. Peace.